Hello and welcome to 1.4 of CodeHS's AP CSA 2025 revised edition. We are working on assignment statements and inputs today. And so starting off with assignment statements, if you have an int numcats is 5, there's declaring the variable and then initializing. This equal sign is the assignment operator. And so you're assigning numcats to 5. The assignment operator enables the program to initialize or change the value of a variable. We've gone through this before, talking about how numcats is a place in memory with the value of 5 in it. And if you assign it, you're changing that location or that variable to 4 with the assignment operator there. So of course in math, the equal sign is checking for equality. Checking if something is equal to something else. The assigns is numcats is assign the value of 5. So kind of changing the way you're thinking of that. So the value of numcats is 5, not does numcats equal 5 or numcats is equivalent to 5. It's assigning numcats to 5. So the variable will store the value. So numcats is the variable, it'll store the value 5. So if we print numcats, it would print the number 5 before. Here, there would be an error because numcats does not have an initial value. But with int food price here equaling 10.25, that's not an integer value. So you would need to have it as a double. So initializing variables with an expression. So we could set numcats to 4. We could do monthly food price and say it's 15.25 because that's a double. You could also get your total monthly cost by doing an equation and assigning it equal to the equation of numcats times monthly food price, and that would give you 4 times 15.25, which is what? 61. Yeah. So total monthly cost would be equivalent, would be assigned to 61. So if I wanted breed to not have any value, you could equal it to null. The literal null is a special value to indicate that a reference is not associated with any object. What should replace missing code to properly initialize the message variable? String message equals something. 2 equal signs is checking for equality, so that'd give a true or false value. That's not what we want. We want message to be assigned equal to hello. You would not use string again because we've already declared that message is a string. Okay, what is the output of the following code? 584 x result equals x is 5, y is 4 times 5 is 20. There we go. The variable num has been declared and initialized in a program. Which of the following code segments assigns a value that is 20 more than twice the initial value of num? 20 more than twice the initial value of num. So we'd multiply 2 times num first and then add 20. 20 more than twice the initial value of num. Yeah, so twice the initial value of num first, order of operations, and then you add 20. Which of the following statements about assignment in Java is false? A variable must be initialized before it is used. Null can be assigned to any variable, any object. The equals operator assigns the value on the right to the variable on the left. Yes. Primitive variables store values, while reference variables store memory addresses. So this is the only one. Null value can be assigned to any object, not any variable, not primitive types, as explained down here. All right, beauty product check. So we're at 1.4.4. Create a variable to store the total before discount. Okay, so we need to look at the assignment and take a closer look here. So I guess the total would be, yeah, before discount, just add them together. Total, no discount, equals bath soap plus lotion plus chapstick double total saved equals bath soap plus, well, let's reuse what I was about to type in over again. So then times discount alone is 25% of this the total without the discount. So that would be just the discount, right? So then you would say total, I guess true total is what I'm going to call it, equals total no discount minus total saved. Print out the summary. I don't like to reinvent the wheel here. If I can copy and paste, even if it's slower, just with the effort, I would do it. So before, so total no discount. If you want it to automatically go to the next line, the way mine is, it's in settings and wrap lines. Very useful. See, mine doesn't stretch out, and those on a Mac, sometimes it'll cause you to go back and be annoying there. So hopefully that can help some people out. Plus total saved. True total should do it. Okay, looks good on that end. And we're good. A free fall is when object falling freely with no forces acting upon it except gravity, which creates a constant acceleration of g equals 9.8 meters per second squared. Okay. You're standing at the edge of a cliff and drop a ball. It takes 23 seconds to hit the ground. How high up are you? So his time is 23. So int time equals 23. G 9.8. What's height? Well, it says height equals 0.5 times g times time squared. So time times time, or you could use math.pow, but we haven't learned that yet. Final velocity. So then double velocity equals g times time, and we can print out the height of the cliff is. Now on this one, make sure that you, so height plus m period, or they will get you on that. It's annoying, but you know, in coding you have to be very specific, or you can screw up the way things are read, and so you just got to be very particular. And CodeHS is very particular. Is height meters per second. Final velocity is v meters per second. Run this. Okay, check my code. Did I do the math right? Yes. All right, 1.4.6, user input. So in Java, user input is a little bit tricky. There's some things that you need to sort of have memorized at the beginning until you fully understand what you're doing. But user input is an important part of programming that enables you to create engaging and interactive programs, of course. So what type of input are you trying to get? Are you clicking a mouse? Are you using the keyboard, arrow keys? Are you typing in text? In Java, the scanner class is helpful tools to read user input into your program. particularly with text is how we're going to use it, and numbers and true or false values. So the scanner object, as we've seen previously with classes, we would create a scanner object so that we could access the attributes and methods within the scanner class. Now the scanner class gets its values by reading keyboard inputs, and it does that by utilizing the methods within the class. So you have to create a scanner object in order to access those methods. And so scanner input equals new scanner. Now this is something called a parameter, and we're passing in an argument which is going to be the value of our parameter in the class. We'll learn a bit more about that later, but basically you need to have this memorized to start, and we'll go through exactly what it means a little bit later, but we're creating a scanner object, an example or a blueprint of a scanner class, so that our program has the ability to utilize the methods from the scanner class. Scanner class is not automatically in Java like the .lang package is. The .util package is not automatically imported in. We have to manually import that in. So we're creating a scanner object giving us access to these different methods. The system.in is, instead of system.out giving output of the system, this is getting input of the system. So these are our methods to get some of our basic variables that we want, or basic readings of our keyboard input. So next line would access a string, int accesses a whole number, double accesses a decimal, and boolean true or false. So what is your name? This is called the prompt. So you need to tell the user what they're supposed to type in, otherwise they wouldn't have any idea what to put in, whether it's supposed to be a string or a number, because those can cause errors if you don't prompt them correctly. And here we have name. So what is your name? Now notice we are using the same variable name here and here because we are trying to access the methods from this object, and we have named this object input. Now you might not name it input in the future, or if you see an example from someone else's code, it might be SC for short for scanner, or just S, or lowercase scanner, but it needs to match. So right here you need to type in S or SC or scanner, or in this case input, because that's the name of the object. Okay, so they've changed the name, and they want to show you that you would need to change the name when you're referencing this object to access this method. So I know a lot of this is a little bit of technical jargon that we haven't necessarily gone through enough that you might not understand it fully, but for now, just try to understand the best you can, and it'll make more sense as we go further along. So you want to make sure that these match. So a double would not match next line, next double would match a double, and only a string would match next line. So graduation calculator, ask user for their grade, print how many years they have left until they graduate. So what grade are you in? Int grade equals input.nextInt, system.print, years to graduate, print line 12 minus the grade that we put in. So we would create the scanner, allowing us, if we referenced that scanner, to access the methods within the scanner class. So nextInt is a method inside the scanner class. We prompt, then we utilize int grade equals, and then utilize input.nextInt to wait for the user to input whatever they're going to input. And so there would just be a pause in our program until the user plugged in a number, hopefully, and then pushed enter. And so they plug in 10. 10 gets stored for grade. It's an int, so it stores it correctly. Years to graduate equals 12 minus 10. So 2 would be what would be printed out. Okay, so what is your age? Let's say 17. And it skips line 11 here. Why does it skip line 11? Well, this input.nextLine finishes off the line that it was on the original input. This input.nextInt is a partial line method, which accesses part of the line, but the next thing that the scanner will read is the rest of that line. So when we do input.nextLine, it finishes off this line, and it says it's blank. So our color is stored as just blank. So this particular scenario doesn't happen all the time, but we have to do input dot next line again after our int age equals input dot next int if we are having an input dot next line next, because it's not looking for the next partial line, it's finishing off this line. If it was an int and then another int, we would not need this input dot next line, but the fact that we have an input dot next int only doing part of the line, we stop right here and the input dot next line finishes off that line. Another input dot next int would go to the next line. So we have to put in, if I add in input dot next int and do this again, input dot next line, and it creates this little buffer that finishes off this line, and then it prompts the user for the next input for color, and then now I can actually type in green and it'll both be stored correctly. Just kind of a weird one-off little error that can happen that you need to make sure that you are finishing off. So so they show it here where they do that, what I just showed, and it works correctly as I had just shown. So just be aware of that. Exploration, going to the movies. Read through the program, run the program. 3 bugs in this program. 2 of the bugs are caught during compilation, which you discover when you ran the code. So next line should be next double. Then here it's an input dot next line needs to be added, and then we don't show the cost of the snack, we don't store it. And then I believe that's all that they're asking for. And so those are the changes. Now that you have a program running, you can find the logic error. Yep, think back to the note. What change can be made to fix this logic error? Yes, we fixed it with the input.next line. Complete the prompt below. After asking the ticket price, ask the user how many tickets they would like to buy. So ticket price, after asking, okay, so num tickets equals input dot next int. I need to put in a prompt. Still need the input.next line because I'm about to do this input.next line down here, and I don't want to finish off num tickets with a blank for my which snack I'm going to get. And then so I need to add in a total ticket price variable. So I need to add in a total ticket price variable as well. Double total ticket price equals ticket price times num tickets. And then I do this here, and my total will be total ticket price plus snack price. They want snack price. Snack price. Now I run it. Because snack price is used here, I need to make sure my variable names match. So that runs. Now I can check my code. I probably should have ran through it once with my own test. That's what you normally should do, but I'm fairly confident we have all of the parts of the program working correctly, and yes, we do. So then we submit. Perfect. The 1.4.10 user input quiz. Which of the following correctly creates a scanner object? Scanner input equals new scanner system.in. What is correct line of code needed to request a whole number from a user? Okay, scanner is called input. So int input equals next int. Okay, don't want it to be a double. Don't use integer. Don't want it to be stored as a string here for num. Okay, when the program runs, the user inputs the following values in this order: 5, 10. 5 for length, 10 for width. Area equals length times width. What will be printed? Well, 5 times 10 is 50. Yep. Scanner is input. Enter your age. Enter your name. Hello, so-and-so. You are blank years old. 25 and Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte. You are 25 years old. Okay, so I made a mistake there. Okay, you got to be careful with it. Remember, the input int will only be partial line. So when we put in 25, we need that buffer of input.nextLine that we did in the exercise problems, but I missed it here. You need to make sure that you remember to do that. Okay, usually I test it and see that there is nothing stored for name, and that clues me in that I need to do that buffer. So be careful on that. Create a scanner object. Okay, so scanner's already imported, so scanner input equals new scanner system.in. Prompt the user. And then string flavor equals input.nextLine. So that will end the line. So I don't need a buffer after the input.nextLine, just before it if there was an int first. Then int scoop num scoops equals input.nextInt order summary flavor plus flavor number of scoops plus num scoops total. And then how do I do the total? Variable store the price of one scoop is $2.50. Okay, so it says double price one scoop equals 2.5. Now, because the next thing is a next line, I would have to do the buffer input.nextLine, and then total. I can create a total variable, double total equals price one per scoop would be a better name. Per scoop times num scoops, and then I can just have total. So I don't need this buffer, whoops, because this is not asking for input. This is just a variable that is already stored. So I'm not getting input of the next double. So what flavor would I like? How many scoops? 3 scoops, 750. Check code. There we go. Submit. Continue. The MLA format to cite the book as follows: last name, first name of author, title of book, publisher, year of publication. So enter author's name, last name, then first name, enter year. Okay, so we're entering a bunch of information and printing it out. Okay, so scanner input equals new scanner system.in prompt string name equals input.next line. Int year and then enter the title. String title equals input.next line. This an int and then input.next line, clear it, and then ask for the title. String publisher equals input dot next line. Now, since the last one was a next line and this one is a next line, this ends the line and this ends the line again, so no buffer is needed. Finally, I think they want a system. Since there's an empty line in the example there, I'm just going to do an empty line there. And I'm going to put name plus quote period plus title plus quote period and slash n, I'm assuming. Plus publisher plus quote comma space plus year. Plus quote period is needed. Will that fix all of it? Doesn't seem like it should, but it does. So yeah, you got to be very, very particular and compare exactly what the output is versus what your output is. In the past, they've given more specific, like they would just say that this part is wrong, but apparently in this one, they're making you do all of them. So that is it for 1.4. Next, we'll work on casting and range of variables.